All right, how we doing, everybody? This is Crypto Chase. If you're new here, we're going to cover Bitcoin. We're going to cover ES. We will do a recap of the USDC Depeg, and we'll talk about all that good stuff. We're going to go over trade ideas, plans. Some of you who may be new to my page over the past couple days, I appreciate you being here. Tune in. I'm very confident that you will leave satisfied, and if you're not, go ahead, unfollow and disappear forever. That's my confidence level. Okay, so getting right into this, we're not going to do a long recap, but I want to talk about this move right here. Okay, this move, I think I was the first person on CT to talk about potentially doing this. This was on February 27th. It did go deeper than I expected. I said that today when I retweeted it. I'm not here to lie to you or pretend that I, caught something that I didn't. I did catch a large majority of this move, but we'll talk about that separately. But yeah, so I had it going down to just this little swing here. It ended up taking the full swing. That was one time I told you about it, on the 27th of February. Moving forward, I called for it again as it was taking place. Then me and Trader SZ were talking about it. We were talking about the final scam as a fast, aggressive face ripper. That's exactly what we got. Props to SZ for that, terminology right there. He nailed it on the head. So we talked about it again here. And then one more time when it was coming down, I talked about it here. I drew this and I drew that. And then it turned into that, okay? So if you didn't catch this, it's okay, right? I've said this many times. It's not the end of the world. There's plenty of moves to come. Every time a big move comes, people are always upset. Oh, I didn't catch it. This is the end. They think it's the end of the world if they don't catch one move. But I promise you that it's not. A trading career is built up of thousands and thousands of moves. If I missed this move, I wouldn't have had any issue about it. Okay, not a big deal. So yeah, that's just recapping this move. If you did miss it, it's okay, but I would say perhaps loosen up your criteria a little bit. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys about how I played it. I did not catch the whole move, okay? Not at all. Let me show you guys what I did. I played from here to here, and then I played a little bit from here into here, and then I played a market buy at some point at 21, in the 21s. And then close it inside of here, and then I had a scalp today. So I took about 4 trades, right? Took about 4 trades, and I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I took about 4 trades when I could have just took one. And I think that's something that comes with, I think it's tough with Bitcoin, because with Bitcoin, you're not sure when that strong, look at these strong candles, you're not exactly sure when this is going to come. This is the most volatile action we've seen outside of this move or this move in nearly a year almost, and this obviously. So you're not always sure when you're going to get a 20% move in 2 days. So for me, taking 4 trades in here, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you could have simplified it to such a degree, and let's just bring this to a weekly chart. Could have simplified it so much, and this is how we mark our fib, right? We have a big breakdown, we have a high, the low after the high. Take that, your zero's on the top if you're looking for a long, okay? And look at that 618 tap. You could have bought the 618 and went to sleep for the next few days, and you would have woke up with insane profits, okay? Easier said than done. There are other times where it would hit this, it would break down. There's other times where it would hit it, it'd come up and reject here, and it would break down. So that's the way I traded it. I traded it with taking profits again at this SR, taking profits again wherever this liquidity was in here. There was a liquidity on the lower time frame, and then taking profits again. Okay, it's 4 trades. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Could have just bought one time and enjoyed the whole move, but it's just how it goes. So that's just me being honest with you guys, and hopefully you could see from a trading perspective that you may feel shitty about missing the move, but nobody played it perfectly, okay? If anyone could play it perfectly every time, they'd already be a billionaire, and they wouldn't be on crypto Twitter or anything. You wouldn't even be hearing about it, okay? Give me 1 second. And then, get a sip of water in me. You guys know how I do. All right, moving forward. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. And we don't need this anymore. This was the 22.7 move. We caught somewhere, well, I called, we were moving to 22.7K liquidity somewhere in the mid 21s. That played out. Okay, again, we'll get into future price action and what I think is coming up. Just a quick recap here. Moving into the USDC stuff, okay, I think this is important to talk about too. And I think it's extra important to talk about on a day like today where the sun is shining and everything is great again, okay? But when you think back, think about some of the fear or whatever emotion you had, panic, when FTX was collapsing, when the countless scares of USDT, when 3AC was blowing up, when Luna was blowing up, when we just had the USDC peg and we had people selling USDC at 85 cents on the dollar, okay? Just because today is, the sun is shining again, doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared. And when I post shit like this, a lot of people say, oh, bottom signal, they say capitulation. Little do they know, well, first off, little do they know that, actually sold the top and called it many times. Anyone who's been with me for a while knows that I was calling for sells over and over and over again towards the top of the bull market. But above 55,000 Bitcoin, above 3.8 to around 4,400 ETH, constantly selling. In my videos, I was talking about selling. I was saying the market's nothing but speculation. It's gone crazy with the Doge and the shit coins, and I'm selling. And the monkey pictures and everything else. That's one example, right? So how am I capitulating on this tweet if I sold all the way back then? Also, how am I capitulating on that tweet if back in November was when I removed a very large percentage of my net worth from crypto, okay? So this stuff is not capitulation. This is not in the moment. This is me trying to just relay my thoughts about what's going on, first and foremost. If you want my honest take, I think that right now, I think that the environment, the macro environment, is still very risky. I think that the Federal Reserve and the FDIC and whatnot, if something goes wrong in crypto, they are not coming to save you. They're only going to save ordinary people from ordinary banks. They're not coming to save your stablecoin. All right, let's put that first and foremost. And that's why, in my opinion, your safest bet is sticking with big banks, the ones that if they collapse would cause just a systemic, collapse of the U.S. economy, essentially something like Chase, those banks essentially, they're quote unquote too big to fail. And I think if anything did happen, the Fed would completely backstop it. Otherwise, the U.S. economy goes to shambles. So you can stay with a big bank. That's not personally what I do because you don't get much interest there in a savings account or anything. They're quote unquote so safe that that's why they don't give you any good, percentages of yield on your savings accounts. You don't get anything there. You get like 0.1% or something, where other banks are giving you 3%. But what I opted for was treasury bills, okay? And you can play the short dated, you can play the 1 year. So you just take any extra money that you don't need for living expenses, extra money that you don't need for trading, or extra money that you don't need for eventually buying the dip if a bottom does come, and you put that in the 1 year treasury bonds backed by the quote unquote full faith and credit of the United States government. And if that falls, all I can say is that the S&P will be completely destroyed, Bitcoin will be destroyed, ETH will be destroyed. I found it so comical, some of these comments talking about how, the economy will collapse and crypto is going to save them. It's a fucking joke, okay? Doesn't mean that ETH's going to stop working. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin's not going to still be processing blocks, etc., etc. But you're talking about the destabilization of the U.S. economy, and you think crypto is going to save you. I think it's absurd. And whether you'll still have access to, money that can be transferred, of course you will. But the question is, what'll it be worth? It's not going to preserve your wealth. If the world is collapsing, essentially, your wealth is not going to be preserved anywhere. But what's more likely to happen is that crypto can have a specific issue, like it has had so many times, where I have friends who literally lost millions of dollars in the FTX collapse, right? Or people who sold their USDC for 85 cents on the dollar. This shit can happen and no one's there to save you. Whereas if the US economy collapses, the whole game's just over. It's not going to happen. So, knock on wood or whatever you want to say, but the US economy is not going to collapse. It's much more likely and it's way more risky to have your money in crypto than in something like a big bank, a systemically important or integral, whatever the terminology is, bank, or US Treasury bills or something of that nature. Okay, so while the sun is shining, while everything is bright and dandy and whatnot, those are the times when you make the decisions, not when gas prices fly through the roof and everyone's panicking and the off-ramps shut down, etc., etc. Make a plan to put some of your net in a safe place so you and your family, etc., are safe, okay? And it's as simple as that. I don't think we need to talk about it too much more. So we don't need this anymore. Real quick, we'll just cover this and then we'll get into Bitcoin. I don't really have too much to say about ES at the moment. My eyes are on Bitcoin right now. And a lot of you guys will remember 3 months ago or something when we were chopping on Bitcoin, I said I don't care about Bitcoin at all right now. I'm playing ES day to day. And this is just to show you guys how quick as a trader I'm willing to make an adjustment. There's so many people that are so stuck in their thought process and their bias and their ways, and they don't adapt to the incoming information. If Bitcoin's volatile, we look at Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's obviously going through a strong consolidation period, let's go and trade ES intraday. Okay, there's no love or hate for any of these assets. We trade what is available. Okay, so real quick on ES, I talked about this the other day, keeping it simple, a potential move back into this SR right here and going down to liquidity. If we look at it here, I think it is possible. And also we built up relative equal highs here. Okay, so we have relative equal highs here. You have a high here, untapped. SR in this area. You can mark it out like this. Deviations, you could call it a fair value gap, whatever you want. But in my opinion, I just see it as, right here, you had your final support before the breakdown. That's how I always discuss it, okay? Final support, big breakdown through. If we push up into here, here's the thing, all right? Tomorrow you have to be very concerned with the CPI data. It's going to be 8:30 in the morning. I don't even think I'm going to be awake for it, unfortunately. My schedule is getting a little shitty. That's why this video is later than usual. Nonetheless, something to watch for is that CPI data. If the data is nothing special, right? So if it comes in, if it comes in neutral, or if it doesn't come in, if it's hot, I think if it's really hot, we might just go take this liquidity here, and then we watch for the move back up above and into here, okay? Depending on how hot it is, of course, and depending on what other fundamental things are going on this week. I would say this week you want to be cautious. You shouldn't be oversizing. Watch out for any new fundamental stuff involving banks and the Fed and et cetera, okay? At the end of the day, I would say, 95% of it is the chart. That's always pretty much my belief. But that other 5%, you want to be cautious of what the Fed is saying, okay? You always do. You want to pay attention to the Fed. That's the other 5 or 10% besides the chart. So, moving into tomorrow, again, if it comes in neutral and we get a sweep, and guys, go to my link tree and go to the entry techniques video, okay? People who apply this stuff, it works. Look, Chase, I had this banger trade using your entry techniques with size, all right? Dr. Slippers, good job. So the guy went and he took the content right here at the top of my profile. Go to the link tree, okay? And click Learn a Simple Trade Setup. There it is. Learn how to enter a trade. Click that one. And then, of course, these videos are sponsored by Prime XBT. You can trade ES and crypto on Prime XBT. You can also trade them on Bybit. Clicking these and supporting, depositing, etc. trading on them. That's what keeps these videos coming, all for free. Okay, it's no, that's it. Very much appreciated if you help me out with that. So entry techniques video, check that out, and that will help you with, looking for a sweep, a reclaim, an SR flip, whatever's in there. And it can also help you with market structure breaks, moving into here, looking for the flip, boom, okay. Those are the trades, and how to enter a trade will also tell you, what your options are, whether you're just looking to blind enter with stop, or whether you're looking for the break. Yeah, we cover all that, okay? So that's my area of interest, right? I think that's the most important thing, is that I believe we have a bit of a range going on here. A high, a low, sweeps the high, okay? High, low, sweeps the high. Eventually, it's coming down for the low, in my opinion. If you move back into here, it's most likely a short into here. Be cautious of CPI. Again, if CPI comes in and inflation expectations or inflation comes in much better than expected, then expect that this could possibly flip to support. If we plow through it, look for the retest, okay? That's a potential long. Maybe we take this high then, and then that's when we sweep and go for liquidity, okay? So, and again, if it comes in, if expectations or if inflation comes in hot, look for the sweep, the reclaim, play it into here, okay? There's a lot of trade setups here. There's a lot of plans here. The execution at the end of the day is up to you. And if you're, if you really have these things planned out ahead of time and you're listening to what I'm telling you, you're going to catch some stuff, okay? It's as simple as that. I posted the Bitcoin trade 4 or 5 different ways throughout the week. And again, if you didn't catch any of it, it's okay. Shit happens. Not the end of the world. You're improving, you're learning as a trader, etc., etc. But the information is there, okay? But don't expect me to come and click the button for you, because it's never going to happen. I do my best to update. I do my best to call things when I'm available at the time. The years of waking up at specific price timers and things and killing myself to try to get information out there is just, I already did it. That stress is hopefully behind me, and hopefully you guys can just appreciate the content for what it is at the moment. Okay, moving into Bitcoin. All right, so quite the ripper we had here. Comes down. What's fascinating is that I originally had expected that only this liquidity would get swept. And Bitcoin had taught me to believe that. If this was an ES chart, I would have 100% said we're going to sweep this liquidity. I only went for this one because I was thinking, well, Bitcoin, it just doesn't give good sweeps anymore. And that's why I'm sort of excited about Bitcoin again, because look at this. Like this is amazing. I haven't seen Bitcoin do something like this or give an awesome move like this in so long. It's like really rejuvenating to me. You've probably seen me posting a lot, being active on Twitter. This really like rejuvenated me to care more about Bitcoin seeing a move like this, because it's always lately just doing some bullshit like this. That is bullshit. That's not a real sweep. And now, in my opinion, we built up equal highs here, even though this did sweep, right? But I was trying to get short in here. Like I really wanted short from liquidity to liquidity. That was my play. I said, okay, liquidity to liquidity. That's my play. I have this drawn on Twitter as well. You just can go find it. And I have it playing down to here. Just didn't get the sweep. And I was just like, this market is just ass. Like, where's the sweep? Where's the move? Where's the, let's get people bullish. Let's get people calling for new all-time highs and then nuke the fuck out of them. That's what I want to see. But we just didn't get that at all. So this move is very, I enjoy this move. I like this move. It's got me excited again. Weekly time frame. I mean, if we took this, if we just wanted to say like a very basic level at the moment, we wanted to say where we're going to find our first resistance. If we do move up above here, I feel like it's 26.7. You have this low here. You have support into here real quick. Rejects hard. And that's the origin of this major impulse move down. Okay? Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water again. So, I think that's clean. I do look for a short around here. I don't want to, here's the issue. I don't want to not catch this move, but I also don't want to, I also don't want to respect the potential strength combined with the Fed, okay? So I don't think it's fully out of the question to make a move into here. This is super, inefficient. Avoid. So I think what I would have to do is I'd have to, look for a short in here and see how it begins to move. And so, okay, I'll just draw it out, right? I'll pretend. So we move up above here. It's a quick sweep. We come back up. We push into here. At this point, I get short. You have to be a little wide with your expectations here, so to say. You can't just have, if you're going to have a 300-point stop, I don't think you're going to be a part of this. You have to be able to give it a little room to see it on the daily, and if it just comes back up and it flips, right, and you get that SR flip there, and you push above this high, that's where you cut, right there, okay? Because that means that we broke above the resistance level, okay? This is the resistance, it rejects. Hold on. This thing's bothering me. We get above the resistance, or we get to the resistance, it rejects. We push above the resistance. Now this is where you wonder, okay, is it a deviation? Are we deviating, right? Are we doing this? If it's a deviation, you could find your entry here, okay? So you can wait. You don't have to blindly short, right? So you can find that deviation there. If this, again, drawn again here, if this is the deviation and it comes back down, you can look for your entry there. Now it's not always perfect, right? It's not always perfect. If it nukes hard, just any fill back is where you can find your entry, okay? Sort of like a refill right there. So you're having your support, flips to resistance, okay? This is when you cut it. If it pushes above here, that's when you cut it, and that's when it most likely fills this inefficiency into 28, high 28s, low 29s. Be cautious of a front run here, okay? So maybe it doesn't get all the way. Maybe it does. Maybe it knowing Bitcoin, now I don't know how it's trading nowadays, but knowing how it's traded recently, I wouldn't be surprised if it rejects off something like this or something, mid 28s. Okay, it might not get all the way up into here. We might get a little front run. So I would keep that in mind. I'd say somewhere around here, push up, fill the inefficiency, right? And then that would be the next short area to watch. Stop somewhere in here, right? You don't want to put the stops too high. This is some alpha that I often teach, right? If it's gonna come take, liquidity in here, it's gonna take it all, right? So whether you have your stop in here or whether you have your stop here, that's all fine. But don't put your stop up here. That's just asking. That's where all the stops are. That all the noobs are putting their stops up there. Okay, they're all thinking, oh, okay, so I'm gonna short this. And maybe it's a good short, maybe it's not, right? We have to see when the time comes, but they're saying, I'm going to short this and I'm going to put my stop above here. Horrible, okay? That's when the market comes and wipes you out, and then it just nukes to the floor, and you just get stopped out in here, okay? Why? Because that's how the big players fill their orders, okay? They need you to get stopped. When you get stopped, you become a forced buyer. When you're a forced buyer, you market buy into their limit asks, and the market comes back down. Okay? Let's see what else. So that's sort of the high time frame picture. We've been on the weekly here. Let's move down to a daily. This video has been going for a while, and I do actually have to get going soon. But let's just try to mark it up real quick. We had the high right here. Okay, you wonder, okay, how do I mark a level in here? What's the important level in here? In my opinion, the important level was this. You had support before the major breakdown, okay? When we start on the chart, it's fine to grab levels from the left, but in my opinion, you typically want to work from the right and see what's the most recent level using the daily. You can use the weekly, but the daily is typically, unless you have a ton of discipline and you're going to be sitting in trades for weeks, you typically want to look at the time frame that you're trading on, right? So if you're looking to trade for a daily move, use a daily time frame, find a daily level, etc., etc. Okay, you're typically, and also keep in mind that if you're looking for a daily move, you can work down to lower time frames like the 15-minute or the 1 hour, utilizing an entry technique to find your entry. But basically what I'm saying is you don't want to have a weekly target for a 5-minute entry most of the time, okay? It's usually not how it works. And these levels, you'll find, are often very respected. Look at the respect here. We're going backwards now. So instead of going from left to right, we're going from right to left, and we're verifying the level. We're saying, okay, look at this support, major move down on impulse, and impulse move down. Go and look at the video, candle close and impulse moves, something of that nature. I talk about that a lot more there. And then look at the confluence. Perfect. Resistance, support, breaks down. Okay, the market is respecting the level. Do we get all the way back down to here? I'm not certain about that. Let's see how we react to this, because this was my level of interest for liquidity. And we did actually see some resistance, a little bit of a front run actually here, and then we moved up very, very powerfully. This is tough as to where a retest occurs. I like in here for now, somewhere within here. I think that we'll top somewhere in here. You'll get some type of rejection before we sweep and go into this area, right? If we are going to go into there, before we sweep and go into there, I do think a retest will be offered, and I like this level right here. Support, major breakdown. You would think that since this was support and we had a major move down through it, that when we would come back up, it would serve as resistance, but it didn't. So since it didn't serve as resistance, the people who shorted here are now looking to get out at break even. This is the thought process behind the chart. They're now looking to get out at break even, and if it moves back down, they will take that exit somewhere within this block, moves up, takes liquidity. That's that move. Okay, so for a local move, I would keep your eye on that. All right, so I think we covered the higher time frame short ideas. We covered ES. We covered potential long ideas for local price action. And I think that's pretty good for this video. Just in general, I would like to end just by saying keep yourself safe, right? Keep yourself safe, be disciplined, think ahead, think about that tweet that I wrote, and think about how I explained that just because today is a bright and sunny day doesn't mean that a week from now or 2 weeks from now something new doesn't pop up and things can get, you never know what can happen. Look at the COVID crash. You know, Bitcoin almost went to zero. There was 20 million on the book between 3,000 and zero. Okay, keep that stuff in mind. Have a plan, execute. You know, be proactive rather than reactive. You don't want to be reacting when the panic hits. You want to try to secure at least a good percentage of what you have now. And you know, look into all this stuff. It's not easy, I understand. You might even not know what a treasury bill is. Neither did I at some point. It took me, you know, weeks of research to really figure out what I wanted to do with my money. But it's something you gotta do. Okay, it's the tough conversations that you gotta have with yourself. How much am I gonna risk when the dip finally comes, or when the quote unquote bottom finally comes? We'll see if it does come. You know, how much am I putting into that? What am I looking to have on exchanges to trade with? Can I split that evenly between USDC and USDT for even risk? You know, what type of exposure do I have to Bitcoin and crypto in general, and you know, S&P? S&P is ES essentially. Think about all this stuff, plan it all out, get it all done. I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. As always, likes and retweets and comments and everything are always appreciated. I love hearing from you guys. And that's about it. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.